Why haven't I? Hello everyone, and today we are going to be taking another shot. Surprisingly, this isn't my first time doing this, but we're going to be taking another shot at making a Minecraft painting in real life. You know, with real canvases and real paint and real... Well, okay, I think you get the point. But if you've happened to been around about 1 year ago when I was making videos, you would know that I've actually already made a Minecraft painting right behind me. I would say I'm pretty proud of it. If you were to look at it up close, it's actually pretty like messy and bumpy, and the squares are rectangles. Everything's fine. Get even! Okay, we're just gonna leave it like that. Anyways, this painting's looking kind of lonely, and I think it needs a friend. Plus, you know, I just kind of want to make another Minecraft painting. So, that's what we're gonna do. I actually have the canvas I'm gonna be painting right here. As you can kind of see, I did most of the prep, like priming the canvas and doing the grid. Which, that grid was such a pain to do, by the way. I had to do it on the floor with a yardstick, and it was super precarious because, you know, it's a yardstick. And then halfway through, I realized that it was like slightly slanted, so I had to redo the whole thing. It was a whole thing, but it's all good now. It is looking pretty snazzy. And now that the prep is done, we can finally start painting. So we're just gonna transition to when I have the easel and all the paint set up, and we'll get started. Okay, so I've set up the canvas. I have my paint, my paintbrushes and everything, and I even have, let me back up, a little reference. Honestly, you guys don't want to know how long this took me to set up. I'll also explain why there's only gray on my palette right now, but first I wanted to kind of explain what painting I'm actually, painting. This is the lovely painting we're doing. I looked it up and it is called The Wither. I guess I was just expecting more. I get that it's a painting of a wither. You could have called it something more interesting. Back to why there's only gray in my palette. I basically want to create like a little shadow outline of where everything's gonna go. The last time I made a Minecraft painting, the hardest thing was being like halfway through the colors and then realizing I need to like count out a bajillion squares. Because of that, I would end up like having to repaint everything. Hopefully doing all this doesn't mess anything up. It shouldn't. I'm gonna put this into time lapse, finish the grayscale, and then start on the color, and yeah. Okay, so I'm finally getting started on the painting, and obviously this is me doing the voiceover, so I already know how the painting's gonna turn out. And this coat right here with the thin paint, let's just say it saved me from messing up the colors on my painting a lot. I'm not kidding when I tell you that she was my rock through this painting. Every time I forgot where a pixel went, or I didn't know what tone went where, the gray undercoat would pick me off my feet, dust me off, pat me on the head, and be like, "It's okay, boo, you just put the green right here." And I am so thankful for it. But as you can see, I am starting the red, and I realized a few things once I started this. One, my paint is so transparent, and it was not going to be a fun time, like, doing layers and layers and layers on top of each other. And number two, the color mixing that I had to do to get all these pixels probably took just as much time as actually putting the paint on the canvas. Which honestly wasn't a horrible problem to have because I actually really like mixing colors, but it still meant that I was still spending like a lot of time mixing colors, and honestly, I don't think I was prepared for that. Like, my brain was turning into mush trying to mix these very, very specific colors, and don't even get me started on the amount of color correcting I had to do. Okay, so I am now on day 3 of doing this painting. Yes, I've been working on this stupid painting for 3 days straight, and it is still mostly white. I painted all the red, and I started on the green this morning. And this red, 3 whole coats to get it to be opaque. I fully blame Hobby Lobby for this, because this, literally transparent. Do not recommend. It's pretty much as close as you're gonna get to water. I mean, look at this. All of the darker colors are just see-through. It takes so many coats of paint to build it back up. Other than that abomination of black paint, everything else went pretty smoothly. I did drop my palette a few times. Once I just like dropped it straight face down onto the carpet, which was at least 15 minutes to clean up, because turns out acrylic paint does not like to come out of fabric very easily. Second time, I kind of dropped it. I face planted it right onto the canvas and got paint everywhere. I just like fumbled it onto the canvas. So imagine this was my palette like 2 days ago, and it technically was, but I was just painting and I fumbled it and it went everywhere. But now I'm back at the grind, unwrapping my lovely palette of green paint. I have this little water spritzer, I just like kind of That was a horrible idea. Why did I do that? One day I will be able to paint a Minecraft painting and not get paint literally everywhere, but today is not that day. Now, if you plan on making a Minecraft painting like this, I 100% recommend doing this kind of like shadow outline. It just made things so easy. I just dropped my palette again. Pause for technical difficulties. But yeah, before I was interrupted, if you're working with thinner paint like I am, then I definitely recommend looking at all the big chunks of color and filling them all in blocks. In my opinion, at least, it saves so much time. Efficiency is key, everyone. If you learn one thing from this video, I'm pretty sure I'm fully in frame. Yeah. Hello again. Clearly, if you were to look at this up close, the green is not done. It is very splotchy. Filling in the green was so like tedious, and I was seeing green. It was getting bad. So I'm stepping back for a minute and I'm gonna do this border. I'll put it up on the screen now, but it's kind of like this bluish, blackish kind of color. I have it mixed up here and I'm just gonna go around the border and then I'll add in more details later. I just realized I had paint on my cheek. Okay. This was funny because it took me all of 2 seconds to realize that painting the edges by hand was going to take so long and be very much not worth it when I could just use the tape. So I grabbed the tape out of my drawer, worked like a charm, definitely recommend. And then after doing the border, I worked on the green for all of 2 seconds before getting back to the border because that green, I was not excited to be doing it. Like, I was procrastinating so hard on this green portion of the painting. I did not want to do it. It was such a big space of green pixels, and none of the colors were looking right, and I had to do so many layers. But I actually did switch to a professional grade black paint to make everything more opaque, so everything did get easier for the rest of this painting, luckily. Even though the paint was better, though, I feel like I was spiraling mentally. At this point, I've been working on the project for like a week and a half, and I was so tired of painting these cursed 1" by 1" squares, it was getting ridiculous. I resorted to just being on voice call with my best friend for the rest of the painting, basically, just to get through it. And honestly, pretty good call, because I think I might have gone insane if I was just doing this alone with my thoughts. But now that I had the skulls fully painted, the whole painting was finally coming together, and it was looking pretty cool. Okay, so I'm taking a quick break in the time-lapse because I just finished the skulls. Upon, like, stepping back, and with the painting being almost finished, I realized that in the grass and in the sky, some of the darker bits are a bit aggressive. So I'm going to step back and kind of tone them down a bit. But I do think that's going to be boring in a time-lapse, so we're just going to jump to when it's finished. Just finished the touch-ups. It is honestly looking like 100% better. I was kind of unhappy with it before, but now it's looking great. It is very late at night, so I wish I could finish this last bit now, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow. Also, the plan is to post the video tomorrow, so I am definitely in for a long day tomorrow. A little peek behind the curtain, but I did not end up posting the video the next day. I had, 20 pixels left, and somehow I still found a way to make this little part of the canvas take 3 hours to finish, but I got it done, and I am so excited to show you how it turned out. Why, hello there. Wait, let me just... It is finally finished. I have the whole painting done. It has taken up a full 2 weeks of my life. I am glad to hang it up on my wall and never have to think about working on it again. Like, from far away, it looks like real. Like, it's so trippy to look at. I am just so excited with how this came out. I hope you really enjoyed watching me struggle through this painting. As usual, if you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe if you feel like it. Comment down below if you want me to do another painting and which one should I do, because there's a lot of them. I'll put it up in the end card if you want to watch the video where I paint this little guy here. And if you want to watch me paint more, then go ahead and click this video where I paint 30 paintings for 30 days. That one was rough. But that's only the first part. Second part's coming out next week, so stay tuned for that, and goodbye.